Allah,
The Father of the universe,
Father of the universe,
Father of love,
Father of love,
truth, peace, freedom and justice.
Freedom and justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah, my protector,
my guide,
my salvation,
by night and by day,
through
his holy prophet,
through his holy prophet,
Amen.
Amen. Islam.
Oh, the divine order.
You got it. I'll be coming back. He's-
The divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to the national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that the roots of slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to that state of mind, their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law-abiding and receive their divine right as citizens, according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government of the earth. It comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast their free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right with the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them in their intelligent tongue, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards of power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship by name and principle, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people and I desire their unity and mind back to their own national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of the government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro alludes in the Latin language to the word negro, the same as the word color alludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. The information of their national descent of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizen of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in union, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was enforced in 1774 declared all men equal and free. And that all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal. Since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statement. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come. Because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land and saved from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. And I, the prophet, do hereby believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in the free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers, and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good but have always harmed. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc. In their present condition of their endeavors, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world, they will not refrain from their simple ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people, continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light from the prophet.
Wow.
A warning from the prophet to be read in every room. Hereby, we advocate peace and not destruction. Mind on charge with Europeans who are from this confusion. There have been no confusion. Failure to obey orders be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice is take its course. Any member of group members that speak, hold, or the violation will receive the reward. These all true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in them, give up your pardon button, cease wearing your turban on this, which means mistake. For this is the holy and divine movement found by the prophet Ali. And if the prophet is not like simple, the prophet is setting out the divine pleas who want to worship him in the day and do protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet who the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways.
Islam.
This is the instruction from the prophet Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers, divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds if you sow in the flesh. So you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so Allah to divine. The end of time is drawing near, says Allah to his divine prophet. I know the Ali, and that is why many hearts have been turned to stone and many eyes to see, but cannot see. ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded to their sinful way, to their sin. These are the trying hours now doing worse, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your fathers, you fear not of what you hear or see, but you will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your. Watch your enemies, dear ones. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him. To the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principle of your temples, act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. To be proclaimed in every meeting, Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors amongst you all. I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a pulse of jealousy about me in the movement now by the same of people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. Since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens. They are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me from themselves and take charge of the situation. I have notified you of all these things long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respect to me, and the movement will be remembered. This is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can solve aside the discord in face of the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without being hid. It has been proven by my works, which I have proved in the last few years. Okay, Islam.
Islam.
That's it. Yes, that's it.
Brother Terry Foreman and Salim Supreme L.
Yes, indeed.
Can y'all hear pretty good?
I can hear. But he seems like he's in the background, so I can't really hear too much of what he's saying. But I hear like some of it. You know, that's why I was gonna reply back on if he could speak a little louder. But I know he's in a nice space where he's able to speak louder. But you know, mean that I'm not there. I can't really hear as clear as you guys.
I can hear really clear. I can hear clear. I'm good.
Are you good? Okay. I'll send you that. I'll send you what he read a little later today, so you can get a feel of it.
Oral statements by the prophet.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yep. All right. So we'll continue where we left off from last Sunday in this book, Spirituality Before Religion, by Professor Kaba Hiawatha.
So he named after the chief that one of the chiefs that formed the Haudenosaunee Airport Federation.
Mhm.
Yeah, Hiawatha.
Yeah.
He was a character too, a cartoon character. Like any native character that you can remember from like the 90s or the 80s or whatever, that's who that is.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember the animation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we were watching it like a little 5-minute animation.
Yeah.
Talking about the Iroquois real quick.
Right.
And how they got the United States Constitution.
Right.
They got it from them. Yeah.
Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
So far we've been transitioning to, what the sun meant for us, the original people. Not necessarily sun worship, what we got from it, when to plant and things like that. So I'm just continuing in that space. This is a section titled "The Sun, the Ambassador of the Creator." So in the old kingdom, which is a dynastic period, the sun was called Atum, the creative utterance or voice of the creator. Atum was the Lord of the world and the Lord of life. The book of the coming forth considered the sun to be the creator of heaven, maker of beings, and procreator of all that is. Akhenaten X, Neset-Bidi, which was a pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, called the sun Aten. Aten was considered to be the source, cause, and reason for all things. Akhenaten presented the sun as the most universal of all physical symbols. To him, it was a symbol of supreme intelligence, possessing great power, knowledge, and forever present spiritual energy. Akhenaten's hymn of Aten compares the rays of the sun with Aten's outstretched arms of Aten that radiate and deliver energy from the sun that creates and sustains life on earth. In reference to Kush, ancient Kushitic records reveal that another title that the king had was son of the sun, so S-O-N of the S-U-N. Some of these records clearly spoke of human evolution and their development on earth. Professor Hansberry discussed the Kushitic belief that credited Kush with being the birthplace of humankind and the garden of human origin. It was the unique relationship that the sun had with moisture and matter of primitive earth that created all forms of life. So moisture and matter. This relationship between the earth and sun made the Kushites the oldest civilized members of the human race. The sun is considered the maker and governor of all things. The Bantu Kavarando of Kenya named their son Nasaya, Nasaya, who was considered an expression of an aspect of the supreme being and the creator and originator of all things. So we went through 3 different time periods of civilizations and how they honored the sun, right? The Wapar of Tanganyika worship the sun as Ituwa, and that's spelled I-T-H-U-W-A. There's another name for the sun, who was not only their creator, but was also the home of their supreme being. The Wakaga, also from Tanganyika, recognize the sun as Ruwa, R-U-W-A. They said Wachaga does not change, or the sun does not change as he was old. So he is now. He has the power to do all things. The Barotse of the upper Zambezi is another civilization, named the sun Nambi, N-A-M-B-E, Nambi. Nambi was the creator of the universe and the great cause of everything that happens. For nothing can be done against his will. So once again, we're going through this because, most people think our people's sun worshipers, right? So it's not necessarily worshiping the sun. Once again, it's what the sun can do for us and the earth. Many Africans in Belgian Congo, the French Equator Africa, the Guyana coastlands in French West Africa looked to the sun as their supreme being. In Central and West Africa, the supreme being was more often personified by the sky than the sun. But the sun was always included in their ceremonies that pay respect to their creator. Evidence came chiefly in the form of raised stones, generally called helioliths. So helioliths, like Easter Island, would be considered a heliolith. These are stones. Right. And most of the stones represented paying homage to the sun or equinoxes and solstices, right? Most celebrations of original people were based on that. So evidence came chiefly in the form by raised stones, generally called helioliths, constructed by various African solar cults. So this authors call them our people's solar cults. So you see what he's implying. Cults are
Sun culture.
yeah, sun culture. So cult is short for culture. So don't get spooked out by that. And if it's solar cultures, that means the original people were into. Right. So Professor Hansberry stated that students of modern science were rediscovering the ancient Africans have been aware of for centuries. So the modern scientists were rediscovering what we knew already, right?
Right.
He reported new information was surfacing, proving that heat, light, sound energy from the sun improve vitality of the body as a whole and help to build up resistance to disease. He cited modern scientists who claimed that abundant sunlight was the greatest destroyer of germ life in living things. When sunlight contacted the human body, it increased the calcium, the phosphates, and iron content in the blood and stimulated metabolic process. So once again, just reinforcement, we weren't sun worshipers. We identified to the exactness from a scientific perspective what the sun did for us. Calcium, iron, right? Increased cognitive abilities and resistant to diseases. This is what we figured out. This is why we paid homage to the sun. Hansberry concluded his essay by stressing both a spiritual and scientific reason for the respect and adoration Africans gave the sun. They worshiped the life-giving energies that emanated from the sun, not the celestial body itself. So not the celestial body itself, what it did for us. This system of faith was practiced by early men and women in Africa, thousands of years before major religions and faith systems today. So transitioning to Neter and Neteru, characteristics of the creator. An important feature of the Neter was its referentiality. In other words, one Neter could change its meaning or symbol when acted upon by different situations. Each situation altered its meaning. It could change its form and actions, but the Neter symbol would always remain the same. For instance, the sun was represented many different ways. It was Atum or Timu, which represent the creative utterance of the primate of the essence, also called the self-created one, who rested upon Ptah and other Neteru beings. 2, also the sun reference Neter, or short for Meta-Neter, the primal serpent. The primal serpent delineated the boundaries of the universe. 3, the phoenix bird, when brought to the dead, rises from its own ashes. This is another symbol for resurrection. 4, Kepra, the dung beetle, with a sun disk on his head, perpetually evolves life by rolling its young in dung, which is symbolic for the challenges of life. It represented the process of becoming. 5, Ra. The sun kept the world in order through its effects on nature. 6, the falcon or Heru, epitomized the zenith or the peak of energy and power. He was the symbol of eternal light, truth, and rebirth. 7, Aten, the physical manifestation of spiritual force behind all life that existed. They theorized that the sun's rays were not only principal cause of all forms of life on Earth, but Aten, the sun's rays, was the essence from whence all life on Earth came. They saw themselves as parts of the sun. This is why Cushites or Kemetics call themselves children of the sun. Everybody clear on that? Pretty smooth. We'll do one more section for a transition. But once again, anybody coming at anybody, y'all was sun worshipers, y'all was pagans. It's a scholarly way to break that down. Empress Shuja El Islam. Oh no, she's not even put all the way in here yet. So we're transitioning to Neteru, metaphoric characteristics of the creator. Metaphoric. The root word is metaphor. Neteru is the plural for neter. Besides the solar neter, there were earthly and cosmic Neteru. The earthly Neteru were represented by stones, trees, animals, symbolic objects, the Jed column. And when we say Jed, you think about what? Jedi mind tricks, that group. We got the Jed pillar, the Masonic circles. So these were called earthly Neteru, or glyphs. Because remember, metaneter means Mother Nature carving, so Neteru would just be nature carving. They just shortened it, right? So earthly Neteru were represented by stones, trees, animals, symbolic objects, Jed columns, statues, human beings, etc. All viewed by emanations of the divine creator. The cosmic Neteru were represented by the great forces of the universe, such as, so we're going from earthly Neteru, now with cosmic categories of meta neter, right? So now we're dealing with cosmic. Cosmic Neteru were represented by great forces of the universe, such as the sky, stars, and the earth, which is referred to Jeb and Seb. I believe that was in your historical timeline. Jeb and Seb. Yep. But most of that stuff reminded me of Egyptian Book of the Dead, like how you formatted it. So Neteru were the personifying forces that depicted thoughts and ideas about nature. However, the most important aspect of Neteru was the balancing effect they had on good and evil. Humans, by their intentions, chose Neter or nature of the situation. The purpose of the Neteru was to guide humans to make the best choices in life. The Neteru are male and female aspects of nature. Although they appear to be opposite in character, they are all interdependent to each other. Without one, the other could not exist. On close examination, they acted as extensions of one another. The Neteru differ only by matter of degree. They teach us that opposites can be balanced. This concept is known as the principle of polarity. So we see we have hermetic principles in ancient glyphs. So that sounds like duality, polarity, 180-degree opposites, how they balance. There is gender manifested in everything and all. Masculine and feminine principles are forever present and active in all phases of existence on each and every plane of life. It is this balance of opposites and complements which brought the continuing to being, or continues to bring the universe into being, and continues its becoming. Everything that you are looking for on the outside already exists inside of you. This concept was enshrined in the story told by Frank Baum called The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy wanted to go home. The Scarecrow wanted a brain. Tin Man wanted a heart, and the Lion wanted courage. They fought evil to influence the Great Wiz to fulfill their wishes. When all was said and done, their actions proved that they already possessed what they wanted. Scarecrow's plan proved he had a brain. The Tin Man's concern for everyone showed that he had a heart. And the Lion's protective nature demonstrated his courage. Dorothy got home by having faith in her and clicking her heels and saying, "I want to go home," 3 times. So everybody had the power, they just didn't know it, right? Every individual is born with a cosmic encyclopedia that contains all the information that has ever existed, exists now, and will one day exist in the future. This internal library is called Akashic Records. Thought somebody would catch that. Our earthly responsibility is to recognize, manifest, and activate this great wealth of information within. To achieve this goal, you must have knowledge, heart, courage, and being at home with your divine gift. It is like being in a dark room where you cannot see anything. You find the light switch and turn the light on and see everything in the room. The question is, did everything in the room appear when you turn the light on? No, they were always there. Just your light was not on. Our cosmic responsibility is to find our unique divine gift by searching for our switch and turn on our spiritual light. Our spiritual light has always existed. Each of us must acknowledge, accept, and approve it. However, just like our earthly responsibility, our spiritual gifts lay dormant at rest within us until activated by consciousness. Cosmically, let us go back before beginning began. Spirit was at rest in the waters of none. In science, spirit was potential energy, energy at rest. Science says that, before I move on, so we see the as the macro and the micro at work. So in a scientific perspective, things are at rest until it's stimulated. And then same thing, we got the gifts within us, or the light, or the Akashic Records. It needs to be activated by a catalyst. Rather it be somebody that's saying something that's on point and it resonate with you. Oh, you know what? And that forces you to blossom. You know. Remember.
Okay. I see. Respect.
Wow. In science, spirit was potential energy, energy at rest. Science says at the first moment of the beginning of the cosmic universe, potential energy was converted or activated into kinetic energy. So that's a branch of science too, when you're dealing with potential energy and kinetic. Kinetic's already rocking and rolling. It's been activated. Potential is with the potential power, potentially it can have. And then now you can estimate based on when the catalyst does come, how, you know, what'll happen. And this conversion of energy activated spirit within matter. Being began, and the process of becoming started. Both spirit energy and matter always existed. The human spirit became active the same way the cosmic spirit came to be at the moment. What is called the Big Bang in science is like the fertilization of the human female egg by the human male sperm. That's another example. As above, so below. Spirit sees everything, but does not have eyes. Spirit hears all sounds, but has no ears. Spirit can smell, but does not have a nose. Spirit tastes the air, water, land, and fire without a tongue. Spirit feels every emotion, thinks every thought, but does not have skin or a brain. However, when encased in the human body, spirit is activated and is allowed to sense all experiences. In the Kemetic or Egyptian African, in the Kemetic, Africans viewed the moment of conception as the soul being captured in a fishnet. So I don't know if y'all, once again, I brought up the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I don't know how many people seen that glyph, but it's exactly what it says. You know, it's a fish captured in a net. But now we know what that means, right? It's a schematic of the moment of conception. This mystical symbol of ancient Kemet signified Ba, which is the soul, represented by the Bennu bird as being trapped within the body.
Is that why some people have that they dream of fishes when you're like pregnant?
What should they say?
Yeah, like grandmas. Yeah.
So spiritual liberation was the liberation of the soul, or ba, from the finite body, or the jed. This pictorial can also be compared to the universal law of polarity. Pata within none equals energy within matter. Soul, on that equals soul within the body. So the reason I'm kind of thinking about that, because back to the Egyptian Book of the Dead, Ptah, when I read it, it's like the generator that causes things to come out the waters. So this author is explaining it as Ptah within none is equivalent to energy within matter. And that energy has a potential to be activated. And that equals soul within the body, which equals the bird within the fish net. So he broke all that, full circle that. So I'm gonna stop right there. Anybody got any questions on the Zoom?
Yeah, but I said that's a deep narrative. So you saying pretty much like it's when like the way that you described it, it's like a I can't even explain it because the way you explained it was so unique. Yeah, I don't even know how to explain it, but I just thought it was very uh real. It's just different, real different. So what book the that you was talking about that you had said, what book is that? I think you said something of the dead or something like that.
The Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Yeah, because I know like you're referencing the I mean both uh the
The glyphs, the symbols.
yeah, and I wanted to read it myself to kind of look at it more.
Yes, I highly recommend it. Have that in your library. And even this book, multiple books, you can cross-reference, and things start coming out more clear. But so did anything stand out to the point that you could verbalize a question, or was it just more insightful and you just don't know what to ask right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to ask right now. Like, yeah, I don't know what to ask.
Okay.
My apologies.
No, it's all good. We're gonna record this, so you can go back, watch it again, ask a question when at that time.
Okay.
We ain't going nowhere. Anybody have any questions in here?
I have a question.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was interesting that they brought up the sandbar, the soul. I know that in Senegal, there was a sheep named Amadou Bamba, and he's known for basically, I think it was the French that colonized the area.
Mm.
So basically he's known for taking the non-violent approach, using his pen to basically like fight colonization or whatever. But yeah, he was a sheep. And a lot of people that go over there and study Islam and kind of like take on a specific name, they'll have Ba at the end of their name.
Mm. So yeah, that makes us clicking too. It's a couple Bas out now. I think about it. That's in that space.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm in a connection right now.
Kaba?
Kaba. Yeah. Kaba. Yes. Yeah, Kaba. He's a Kaba.
He's a boss.
Yeah.
Kaba.
Okay, I got a question. My bad. Hey, so what language is that?
What, Kaba?
Yeah, like or just ba, like the word ba. Like I know you said it was spirit. Am I correct?
Yeah. Within the body.
Yeah, like what? Yeah. So what language is that? Is that a certain language? Is that Arabic? Is that Latin? Like what is that?
It's like
Ba or Kabayu? Ba or
Bob.
Ba?
Just Bob.
Okay, etymology will tell
Give us 1 second.
you.
We got
In Tohono. It's a free app too.
Etymology.
Yeah, etymononline.com.
we got a panel. We got a panel of researchers. Give us a second.
Ba. B-A-A.
Just
Yeah.
BA.
Yeah, but it's only
Oh,
B-A-A.
BAA. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Ba.
That's the same. Yeah, the two of us.
1850s, I don't know, probably older, Ba is reported with the child teach for anything. Sound made by a sheep. No, keep going.
It's like
Yeah,
we've been
this
here.
is talking about the sheep, like,
Right,
I know
Ba.
Ba. Like when you have Ba, the name is usually just BA.
Yeah,
But-
but say it. Go ahead.
Like the
Who's
people
spoke?
in that area, like Senegal, they usually have that. Yeah, but that's not gonna tell you like.
It's in the letter, so it's the same with like, remember that 11 law book? That was in there too. You talking about Maya? Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It'll say like, oh, this is a Hamite, or it won't just say Kemetic. It'll say like, oh, this is Hamite, or this is the
But all the languages.
Hebrew?
One, yeah. it's
right. But even Kemet itself, what language is Kemet? What language is that word?
Right.
Nah, Kemet is not it's like we didn't call it that. Like it's a more ancient name for what they call Kemet. Like even people that be like, oh, it's called Kemet.
Tamaray.
Yeah, exactly. That's a much more older.
Oh, Tamaray.
Tamaray.
Yeah, that's a much older like name.
Okay.
Yeah,
But-
that's the ancient.
But it's safe to say, and that's why I chose to go about it like that, just so we can see what everybody finds. But essentially, these are glyphs. So these people were Kushite. So you can say Kushite language, Canaanite language. That's safe to say. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to use that. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hamatite,
Hamite, yeah, all that.
Canaanite languages. You know. Empress Shujael, you got any questions or anything?
Islam Sheik, I have a question.
Well, I think 1 second. I think the Empress can say something.
No, I was about to ask, where could because I heard you say that you can go back and watch the video. So where do you go to watch the video, to rewatch it? Like
Oh.
for whatever.
Yeah, once this session is over, I'm gonna upload it to YouTube, and I'll just send it to you. If it doesn't pop up automatically, I don't know if you follow on the channel, but I'll just send it to you later today.
Okay.
Brother Salim, you had something?
Yes, Islam. A question. I was okay. So I was in the Quran the other day, and I know for sure. You know, we know the term is time never was when man was not. I'm in my people house right now. I don't got my Quran with me. I was looking through online, but it's a chapter where it literally says, it starts talking about protoplasm and how we come from the ethers or whatever. But it basically it talks about how time was when man was not. I'm trying to think of the chapter, and it starts off by just saying what was going on before we was embodied as the being, as the arm, leg, arm, head. So I just wanted to get your because then most people, most of us Moors, we gonna resonate on time never was when man was not, as to say the whole from the beginning of what we consider time, we've always been around since time started. So I'm trying to think of that chapter. I'm trying to find the chapter, but it's a chapter that says time was when man was not. You know what chapter I'm talking about?
I can't think of the exact chapter offhand, but what he's referring to was similar to what we're talking about. I don't know when you chimed in, but we went into how things that come alive, how you got moisture, you got heat, different things like that, and like you just
Right.
said, before we came into having a carnal experience, which just means we're vibrating slower than things we can't see. That would be called, we're in our grossest form right now because you can see me. But it was a time where you couldn't see, but we were still, our intellectual faculty was still in play, our real self. Just the vessel wasn't there. So, that's where
Yes. Okay, Islam.
yeah. But look these things up, like the grossest form, and in science, when vibration gets slowed down, it comes to a point where now you can see it. But things that are sped up faster, you can't see them, but you can still feel them, right? But,
Right.
But just because you can't see it don't mean the energy's not there, right? So that's an example.
Islam. Okay.
Hey, I got a question concerning to that. So when will people be at that natural state, like that pure state that you're talking about?
I have no idea when there'll be no humans. But I will say, I can feel
Or at least
I can feel the Aquarian age. I can feel like people getting more intuitive and smart, and drifting towards an intellectual state of mind. I do see that compared to like the early '90s and to today. So I will say it's a different. Some people say, primitive way of thought died off, and now everybody's going to more genius plane. You know what I mean? So I can see that transition happening right before my eyes.
okay.
The fact that we on a Zoom call, we're having this meeting. There's people that came to the light,
So,
but yeah. But okay, so I'm gonna transition to what we're actually doing on Friday. We're dealing with trust law. So if this is kind of new, just Friday and Wednesday, and the Friday before that, just listen to it and kind of listen to it in order. So this is called trust corpus, which you can just look at it as trust body. So the body of the trust is proper property being held in trust for the beneficiaries. The very subject matter of the declaration. So we're saying declaration, once again, just like we declare our nationality, you're declaring. So what's the meat and potatoes? What's the trust indenture? What's the bylaws? That's the declaration. It should be noted that virtually anything may be held in trust. However, there are certain things which, given their innate traits recognized in law, make for better subject matter, so to speak. Initially, legal minds who preferred the express trust in America did so to accommodate for the great obstacles in procuring special characters for corporations intend to deal with real estate, which trust eventually came to be known as Massachusetts Land Trust. It was then those individuals came to realize the immense benefit of employing the trust for the purpose of holding land that they eventually expanded their utility to include the holding of personal property, which trust eventually came to be known as the Massachusetts Electric Companies, and their perfection attributed to one-time Attorney General and later United States Secretary of State Richard Onley. But the fact that the express trusts were initially primarily utilized for purposes of holding and handling real estate is very significant, especially to our present situation. So let me read some case laws before I continue on. So we have Burnett versus Smith, 1922 case. We have Murr versus CIR, 1950 case. And we have Brinkman versus US, 1941 case, which speaks on the trustees of an express trust are protected under the Constitution as citizens through the continental United States. The trustees under a will or declaration of express trust are natural persons. So when you're operating in trust, you're still considered a natural person. Because any people that have organization are not minority for the most part, especially if the trust is a national trust. So this is case law though. I'm just, forget what I'm saying, just look at the case law. Natural persons, citizens, quote unquote, within the meaning of Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution, and are therefore entitled to all the privileges and immunities of the same. Transitioning to Paul versus Virginia, 1868 case, quote, even though in today's economic situation, the term quote unquote citizen is presumed to signify the 14th Amendment, the term cannot be applied to the express trust, right, 14, which is specifically created under the original common law. So we got, even here, this is not a Moorish author, once again, they're showing you how in trust, it's a difference between a 14th Amendment citizen and a citizen under common law, which would be a natural one, things before the 14th Amendment. The trust is a natural person because of how and by whom it was created. That's the key. That's the key. The trust is a natural person because of how and by whom it was created. So it's back if it's Moors creating a trust, in the bylaw, they're gonna put things that's talking about treaties, rights of indigenous people, human rights laws, right? Not this trust is going to be under the laws of the Secretary of State or by the laws of the state of California. That's not the lingo in our trust, right?
It's the law of land.
The lingo in our trust, yeah, yeah.
Common law versus amity.
Mhm.
You say amity?
Amity, like maritime law, the law of the sea. They're operating, the United States operates in the law of the sea, where we're operating on common law.
Which is also, if you look up jurisprudence, that's another form of just saying law of the land too. Positive law.
Did you get this?
And
I gave it to this sheet.
yeah, I'll do it after. Matter of fact,
That's like 5 of them.
And it's this, all this right here.
I did it in 3 parts. I drew it out, mapped it out on mathematical. And I had it on the paper with this, along with this. So basically, what this is, you're just visualizing.
so, and hence the foreign corporation statutes of the several states. Corporations as artificial persons are citizens of the United States within the meaning of the 14th Amendment, which should give the reader an idea of the meaning of the term person as primarily used today. Man's right of contract is considered so fundamental that even under Roman law, in a system of domestic slavery, all men, citizens or not, retain the fundamental right of you as gentlemen. It is understood to derive from a man's creator, and therefore is unalienable without his consent / waiver, i.e., man's right to contract can only be contracted away. So you gotta expressly give your rights up. The trust's implied right of contract is unalienable, and that's back to Article 1, Section 8, 9, and 10. Right? Obligations on contracts.
Yeah, they can't diminish the contract, obligation of contract.
Yeah. And that's rooted in the Constitution.
Right.
Article 1. So once again, that's the trust clause. Article 1, trust clause, contract clause. Article 6, supremacy clause, reinforcement. The trust's implied right of contract is unalienable, i.e., transferable to another person by the trustee of a court of equity in the event that the trustee should choose, or by such court should equitable jurisdiction arise. The quote-unquote thing held in trust is referred to as the trust res, R-E-S, which is Latin for thing, right?
Yes.
That's why they say resident is what? A thing,
Identified.
a thing identified. So that's why we're non-residents, right?
Residents of being identified?
Yes,
A
res,
thing identified.
RES is a thing. Ident is identification for a thing identified. That's what they say, are you a resident?
They calling you a thing.
So you don't say I'm a resident. A domicile.
You say you're what?
You domicile. That's a problem. That's what we use. That's our language.
Because we're not a thing.
Yeah, we're not things. We're not that noun.
We're not a thing one or a thing two.
A noun is a person, place, thing, or an idea. So if you take the person off and look at the other four, you're like, those are anonymous objects. Things, person, or person, place, things, and ideas. Those are what?
So they can do what you want, take away like.
Right, because you can kick a thing all day long. You can kick a box, you can kick a car, they're not gonna drive, they're gonna do anything. So a person, right, it's a corporation. Can't speak. Wow. That's why we're a man, we think,
You're a man.
men,
Mhm.
we're not males or females, those are animals. So we look at quote unquote our license say male or female, it's an animal. We're a man or a woman. That's the proper noun. It's the language, they're using language to deceive us, and we're just, oh, we went to school, we got our bachelors, our masters, or whatever, But in reality, they're dumbing this down. Self-mutilation.
Everybody good? So it was then those individuals came to realize the immense benefits of employing the trust for the purpose of holding land, that they eventually expanded their utility to include the holding of personal property. I just read that. The significance derives in pertinent part from the integral relationship between the law of the land. We just said that, right? It is a fundamental principle of law that the land and the law go hand in hand. And in America, without the 14th Amendment, the law of the land is the Constitution with its common law principles. And this is not a Moorish guy either. And its substance of gold and silver. Without getting too deep into the operation of common law, it is the principle regarding the relationship of law and land that, by its operation, threw up an absolute corporate real estate ownership, or in order to charter a statutory quote-unquote civil law entity to handle the substance of common law. Special, if not extraordinary, legal circumstances must exist, which prior to the removal of the fixed gold standard in 1933, i.e., the removal of the substance of law, were non-existent. A statutory entity is inherently accountable to courts of civil legislative jurisdiction, derive subject matter jurisdiction from the corporate charter, whereas an express trust is obviously inherently accountable to the courts of equity. Remember, equity just means fairness. Deriving subject matter jurisdiction from the trust instrument. So that's back to whatever the bylaws, or you can call it a will while you're alive that you can utilize, not because a will by itself just means what you got coming after someone transitions, but a trust is operational while all parties are alive. That's a subtle difference, right? So that whatever that says is the law. People only go to court so that the magistrates will enforce what's already been laid down by the family members or the community. They're just enforcing what the law of the people. This brings us to today. In the jurisdiction of the 14th Amendment, United States Public Trust, that is, the substance of the common law is merely a commodity. But back in the Republic, the substance still remains a staple for payment of debts, though in considerably less quantity and without a fixed standard upon which to be traded. The express trust under common law holding real property, silver or gold, is holding the very substance of the law under which it was created, thus ensuring that bond between law and land and the powers and guarantees that come with it. Certificates. What may come as a surprise is that any trust may divide its trust property into shares and issue certificates. The power to issue certificates, bonds, and employ the use of a seal never has been restricted to corporations. So now we're talking about government now. We're talking about seals, right? Trust organizations. So I'm gonna read that again. What may come as a surprise is that any trust may divide its trust property into shares and issue certificates. The power to issue certificates and bonds and employ the use of a seal never has been restricted to corporations. It is well settled law that whatever else most corporations possess beyond their artificial entity and right of suits or lawsuits in the corporate name is mere incident or consequence of incorporation and not a primary constituent. This may include the power of issuing transferable shares, limiting liability of its officers, using a seal, making bylaws, purchasing lands and chattels, all of which are merely the recognition and adoption of natural common law rights. Any person sui juris, here we have that term sui juris, this is not a mortgage guy, but we use these terms, right? Sui juris, may exercise without permission, much less a charter from the state. So we're talking about trust law, don't need permission from the state. The court in Warner versus Beers clarified this principle most effectively. Quote, and I'm reading the transcripts from Warner versus Beers. There were several very useful and beneficial accessory powers or attributes very often accompanying corporate privileges, especially in moneyed corporations, which in the existing state of our law, as modified by statutes, are more prominent in the public eye and perhaps sometimes in the view of our courts and legislators than those which are essential to the being of a corporation. Such added powers, however, are merely accessory. They do not in themselves alone confirm a corporate charter and may be enjoyed by unincorporated individuals. Such a power is the transferability of shares. Such too is the limited responsibility or liability. So too, the convincing of holding real estate for common purposes exempt from legal inconvenience of joint tenancy or tenancy in common. So when you say your joint tenancy, that's multiple people. That's a trust expression, joint tenancy. Because if, for instance, if property is held in trust, that means everybody involved in the trust owns the property, or it's for the people. That's joint. Again, there is the continuance of the joint property for the benefit and preservation of the common fund, indissoluble by death or legal disability of any partner. So this ideally how it's supposed to work. Everybody's supposed to be competent and knowing how to administrate, because if something happens to anybody, the organization can keep going. They don't just stop because one person go to jail or die or whatever. It needs to be competency and next in line, the people to be run the organization. Every one of these attributes or powers, through commonly falling within our notions of money corporation, is quite unessential to the legality of corporation, may be found where there is no pretense of a body corporate, nor will they make one if all were combined without the presence of the essential quality of legal individuality. I'm gonna stop right there so we can break this thing up in sections, Cause I know a lot of, it might be a lot of info for people just hearing this.
What you reading from? Is it a book or?
It's called Wise Trustee Handbook.
Oh, okay, and I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
So I'm gonna open the floor for any questions on this. Cause I feel like a lot of people be asking about trust, the dynamics of it, how it works. Any questions on based on what was read thus far? On the Zoom, physically in here?
You got your own trust?
Not yet. I'm having one because I'm about to have a child now. But just work through the community trust. But I never had an heir. Now I'm just now having an heir now, beneficiary.
I would have done it, go back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
You're in use of your property. You don't own it. So being in use, somebody else has to manage it for you. That's the other half, vice versa. So you make her the beneficiary to your stuff, or she has it and you're the beneficiary.
So she's a trustee and a beneficiary.
Right. Then vice versa, because you're doing it for her, she's doing it for you.
Mhm.
Because you both know what's going on. Then your heirs aren't here, but yet everything you own does not belong to you. This is being passed down. We're in use of things. We don't own things.
Mhm.
Everything's in use. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
The only thing that we own, right, is basically our minds to think, and that's it.
Yeah, we can't take it with us.
Right. We didn't take anything other than what our spirit has, that we go back to our source.
Mhm.
So that's why the Europeans, when they got here, they told us it's yours or it's ours. It's ours. You know, you own it. Where they used to say it's everybody's. It's ours. It's not yours. It's ours. It's ours. It's our springs. We take care of it for our children. But when they got here, they did the land grandparents and all that. Like, now you own this. Now it's yours, and that's when you get in trouble
Mhm.
because it's not yours. It's always Allah's.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that's the trust.
And then our people don't operate in trust, so the United States is a public trust.
Right.
So whoever got the most organization got trumps. It trumps people that don't got organization. Because the people that don't have organization are considered chattel. They just get swept up. Right. So this is good stuff because I'm about to create, now that I have an heir coming, that was my next train of thought, is creating a trust. It's a family trust.
Right.
And you should do one too. Ali, everybody. Right.
Everybody should will and trust.
You know what I mean? Like I'm
And always put, really, you gotta put like a silver or gold into it. Silver or gold. A trust is not a trust unless you have something tangible. So the gold being the earth, you're the trust, it's the trust. Now it's valid. Does that make sense? Even if it's just like one, or even a penny, because it's copper. That's the trust that has to have something of value. Though, clothes, cars, all that, but it's really gold or silver because that's the Constitution.
just to kick it off. Just to kick it off. Right. After that, you can put anything. Your Xbox.
Right, whatever you want.
Just put a serial number on there and make sure it corresponds. Because it's just a contract. Right. We're just saying we're conveying this property with the serial number, VIN number to the trust on this date. Whoever your trust officers are, sign off on it, which will typically be your wife or whatever. And it's gonna keep getting bigger as you live. You're gonna keep accumulating things. It's gonna be records of all. What you got.
Think about going like to a bar, you're gonna go to the restroom, you hand your beer to your friend, then you go to the restroom. That's the trust. Right. Your property, you're giving it to him to hold.
Mm-hmm.
So his property should give it to her to hold. And they're holding their property for the children. They're the beneficiaries because they get a benefit from it. Good. You see?
Any questions in the chat on this trust situation? Pretty self-explanatory. What you got, man? I see you smiling over there.
Oh nah, I mean, I have a lot of questions, but I mean, I don't know if it's a one-on-one session to ask those questions or what, because like it's a lot of information that was, out. So I don't even know. Like I say, I don't really know where to start. But I do. My only question would be like, I know you explained like what is the trust, but I would like to read over it myself, then ask the questions. That's and that's that's really what I really need, so I can ask the questions that I need to. Because my understanding of a trust, you were saying like he said with the beer or a drink or something, you trusting somebody else to hold on to something or take care of something. Am I correct?
Right. Yeah. For
Yeah,
the benefit of your heir,
of your heir. Okay, your heir would be what? What would be your heir?
your son or daughter.
Okay, my son and daughter. Okay. And so how do you set is that like something like with treasuries as well, or no? Like can you set up a trust anywhere like with the bureau or whatever the case may be, or no, you can't do that?
No, you do it on your own. It's your private, situation. So, if anything were to come, you and your significant other transition and you got children still around, you got documents that they could take to, make sure whatever you said gets enforced. Typically, probate, you go to probate court and things like that. They don't
No,
have
I've
they don't have things like this.
I never heard of that before.
Or probate court.
Yeah, I never heard of that before.
Yeah, so when people family transition and there's a bunch of sons and family, they'll be arguing like where the house supposed to go to, right? And typically there's no will or nothing, or no trust to say where things go to. So it's left in the hands of the probate judge, which decides on where property goes. But if it was a will, all the magistrate gonna do is read, oh, it's supposed to go here. It's already been decided, right? They're gonna read the will, and it's gonna be, or the trust. Oh, it's supposed to go here. It's supposed to go to Whoopie.
The reason why they don't.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I get it.
So you're taking the power out the magistrate hand. You're just using him because once he say something, they got police and everything that it's enforceable. Once this is an order, you're good. Okay, they're probably supposed to go here. Since we ain't got our own courts and judges, but we got the right to contract. So we want to have our affairs in order. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And typically you want things in trust that's not tied to a mortgage or you're not paying monthly payments. You want to own it, right?
So what if you buy some land in another country or something like that? How would that work? Would it be the same way or no?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, you can't buy land.
Yeah, you gotta put it in trust, But if you got it like that in a pseudo sense, it's nothing. It's even easier to convert it to like what we're saying right now. I mean, yeah. Anybody else in the chat got anything? Anybody? Everybody pretty much.
Might be a little silly. But after we make our wills, right? Where's the hive? Here?
The hive? You mean like you want to connect your trust to a bigger trust?
Right. No. Let's say I have a will, right? And you guys see my paperwork and all that. But if I die, and let's say my spouse and all that, they don't know about it, but I showed it to you because they're still, their mentality is still minor, and we're adults here. So I showed it to you guys, so I know that I died, you guys seen it. So you see my symbol and all that. So like they don't know anything about it. I told them they don't know, they don't know the laws to it, but you would comprehend how to function within that trust law. And if they won't be able to inherit, but since we're a nation, you can inherit it.
Right.
Yeah, I think you would, you wouldn't your like fingerprint
just sign, just.
Right, I was thinking about putting 2 pieces of paper, putting my thumb on there and just separating it.
But that's language that you would have to put in your trust.
Right, no,
saying
no,
that-
I'll put it on there, but no,
Yeah.
I did that, but I'm saying it's like, let's say, they take it to probate court, but they don't know that I've already, let's say, I filed it with the California Society, right? Then you could just walk in and say, excuse me, no, this doesn't belong here, wrong venue.
It's not, see, once again, we don't got our judges, we don't have courts. Like, I mean, technically this is a court, but we're not to a point where we can go into a Morris judge and be like, can you hear this? And it's enforceable. Where if that Morris judge be like, yeah, this is the law, and we're not sending no people to jail, we're not sending no muftis to arrest people, we're not on that
Right.
page. So the best we can do, that's even in these municipal courts, that's still a contract. You can use them to be like, okay, we gotta sign off on this because
To enforce it.
to enforce it, yeah. Because just like when the wheel, people go to have wheels, they do the same thing. All they're doing is reading the wheel and like, let's go here.
Right, but what I'm saying is that I have everybody in place, right, as to what I want them to do. What I'm saying is that they don't do what I'm asking or wrote down, then it all transfers to the nation.
Yeah.
It does not stay within my bloodline, or my bloodline is my nation.
And when you write that, as long as you do that,
Mhm.
yeah, as long, I can go in there and talk, yeah, it's no problem.
Right, it was the first time I'm mentioning it to anybody that if they can't inherit it, the nation inherits it.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Anybody in the nation can inherit it, but if they come alive and they come ask for it, that's to revert back.
Yep.
It says, I'm looking at them, I really think that they're one, too afraid, and two, trained to get out of the situation. Even though I try to tell them, they don't want to hear this much shit.
Right.
I don't want to hear it, you're whatever, I don't. Okay.
Yeah. Just, to put that in words like how you just said it.
Right.
And then we just show up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got a question. So you got to be real specific when you write your trustee down, like the information down, right? Am I correct? Like
Yep.
you have to really be like it's okay.
Yeah, very specific.
Okay.
You know, I mean, nothing general. And then you want your trust, like back to the trust indenture, you want it to be a jurisdiction based on what you're saying. Rights of indigenous people, treaties. You can use different case law, Sundry Freemore's Act, to get your point across. Different House resolutions. Right.
Yeah, so basically you're saying what you want to happen after you die. State the laws and why you're commanding that, because the laws, it's already there. Then you assign your people to carry out your laws or your wishes.
Okay.
And if you don't have
Okay.
that, it reverts to other people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you passing your gifts to somebody during Christmas. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Automatically pick this gift goes to that, this one here, and then you say why.
Okay.
Empress Suja L, Salim Supreme L, everybody, y'all good?
Great Islam, everyone.
No questions?
Islam.
So I'm gonna stop right here and brother Monty, you wanna go into your piece?
Really, man. I thought you
It's act like we don't know nothing. You lacing us right now.
All right, so, I'll start off like a conversation with somebody, you know what I'm saying? So what's your nationality? You know what I'm saying? Say black, say African American, whatever. Okay, you black. So what nation does that make you belong to? You know what I'm saying? There's no nation for black, black is a color. You know, if you look up black in the dictionary, you can see the definition says other things other than, what your nationality would be. You know what I'm saying? You don't speak Blackanese, you're not from Blackanon, so it's not a thing. So with the nationality, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, if you ask a Caucasian person, what is it like? What are you? I'm Irish, German, Spanish, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have something to give you, but everybody here that's melanated, they're gonna tell you, oh, I'm an American, or whatever else. So truly, like, there's no sense of identity, no real, nationality, no understanding of self, and that's what's kept us messed up for so long, and if you typically asking melanated folks, what their nationality might be, a lot of times you end up hearing people say, oh, I'm Native American, I'm Indian, this, that, and other thing, and it's the truth. That's the truth, man. In 1789, George Washington came over here, or he was already here, and he had sent a letter to the Sultan of Morocco at the time. You don't hear about this in history books and U.S. history, social studies, and all that. But 1789, he wrote a letter to the Sultan, and the language in the letter was subservient language. Like he was, looking up to this man, like, hey, yo, look, we're here on your land, letting him know, and letting him know imperial majesty is all kind of language within the letter that lets you know that there was some sovereignty that he was saluting to. So, that being said, who is these people of Morocco? Who are the Moroccans? If you look in House Resolution 1203 of Georgia, it states that the Moorish people are Aboriginal, the indigenous people of the land, of North and South America. Human civilization, yeah, true. What's called it, man? They're people of the land, and this is in House Resolution. So this is actual documented United States paperwork, man. And so with that being said, Article, I gotta look it up real quick. Article 1, Section 2, the Inter-American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People says that self-identification is, how you set yourself apart from, said state or whatever else like that. But you have to have that self-identification. If that self-identification is in place, then they can do whatever they want with you. They can handle you however they handle you, or however they handle the people that are of that land, So it's all about self-identification and nationalization, and expressing your rights and knowing your rights and understanding your rights as a citizen of Morocco, as opposed to a citizen of the corporation of the United States of America.
I gotta get to it. I gotta get to it. I gotta get to I gotta get to him, man.
You done? You got more?
I got a little bit more. I got a little bit more. What's it called, man? So it says in Article 16 of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship that once one of the nation of Morocco is captured by someone from the United States of America or wherever else, that the treaty say that the $100 Mexican will be a payment for their freedom, as long as there's not an injured party, as long as nobody was harmed or killed or anything in the process. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I got that. I cooked up that to that point. I need to work on the conclusion, I guess, a little bit better than that. But
That's interesting though, like that they would use Mexican dollars. Moroccans.
right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's Moro, M-O-R-O. We say Moreno, Morena, right? And it's Morocco, M-O-R-O. M-O-R-O, it's Moro, Moreno. So Mexican would be same thing.
North American and South American.
Right, and that flag's been here for, 10,000 years. So if you look at what I've done, you'll see that it corresponds to what Drew at least said. And I did all this before I even studied them.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff, man. That would make you, a person think, clearly we're not talking about the Kingdom of Morocco in North Africa. We're clearly talking about America being Morocco at large.
I think the Kingdom of Morocco Right?
56, 1956.
Right.
Yeah.
Of the preposition,
Yeah, the Kingdom of Morocco got created in 1956.
is a preposition, meaning it belongs to. The kingdom of Morocco, so the kingdom of preposition belonging to the Moroccan Empire. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The of is a preposition, so United States of America means this pertaining to North America. Or just say United States at North America.
Okay.
Don't say United States.
So what would be the proper way of saying that part he talking about?
Which one?
When you were saying like the Marco, like you said the of, and then you said, you know, like how you broke it down, like what would be the proper way of saying?
Of means you belong to, it's like the son of whoever, right? You belongs to that. So the kingdom of Morocco is part of the Moroccan Empire.
Yeah, it's not Morocco itself, it just comes from.
So just look at of as being the son or the daughter of somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Means belonging to or part of. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
that's part of the empire too.
Right.
But
Because
just
it's all the way in Egypt. Sorry about that.
Yeah. no, yeah, it's just a part. But that part of the empire got established in 1956. We weren't talking about the kingdom, we were talking about the empire in the 1780s, 1830s, even before that. Because before anything was called the United States, we had treaties with French. And they were called peace and friendships too. The Moroccan Empire treaty with the French, Moroccan Empire treaty with the Netherlands, Moroccan Empire treaty with England. So that kind of help you look at it too, you know. And when you read the treaties, you're gonna start seeing like ambassadors are signing things in Gibraltar, London, but it still had to do with the treaty of peace and friendship here. And that shows you that it was just bigger than America. I think the whole world was an empire. You know what I mean? The whole world was an empire. You know, just got broke up between Tartary and Barbary after a while, but still, nonetheless, that's where you capped it off at, the Article 50. So yeah, you just gotta, you know, that's the historical part of the book. Now you want to get to the application part on the Consular Notification and Access Manual, utilizing them resolutions. I was hooked up to Article 4, dealing with full faith and credit on public access, stuff like that. So just get the second half of the book tight, and then you'll be good to go. And to, you know, to explain to somebody else too. Anybody else have any thoughts in the chat and in here? Anything at all? Comments? All right, well, if no other thoughts, comments, we can close out. I know we got here kind of late because of the adjustment of the hour.
That's all.
Yeah.
Right. And I looked at. I was like,
Why my phone say something else?
That's fine.
Right here it says.
Finished up late, wild late last night. I'm like, nah, I'll be good. Then I seen that clock tick over. Bro, I thought I had an extra hour. Especially y'all have it every time. So,
Yes. So put that in the chat, because trying to figure that out. It's like, don't forget somebody was saying, don't forget, you know, time to jump ahead. Oh, yeah. Right up.
So close out prayer. Well, I'm really
Oh, so man, this is something.
I ain't got it today. I'm gonna take it back.
You can still sign.
Still sign in, though.
Yeah.
Sign in.
Yeah, you're fine.
Just keep regular. Who came?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, the law can show that your feet is that makes sense? You're part of the nation. You're active.
So even if you don't have anything, just sign in.
Right.
It's you're here. I was here.
I thought they was just like proof of payment. I'm like,
No.
ain't nobody on it.
It's still here.
Anybody one more round for questions, thoughts before we close out with the prayer in the Zoom? I don't know if we'll call Maru for the prayer.
Like, all these times come back, I need to miss a beat. Okay, so the last thing we went over was the trust law.
And then he did a
Oh, yes.
presentation. You read this?
You spell Imani with an I?
Not all of it, but yeah.
I-M-A-N.
Oh, can I check it out? Yeah, I like.
You know, that's my daughter's name.
information and add more.
I spell it
Some good stuff in there.
E-M-A-N-I.
Some good stuff in there.
Yeah, it's all
It
really.
means the same thing, all right?
I'll bring it back to you.
Faithful one, Swahili, yeah.
So, that's what I'm learning, like, too.
Huh?
That's what I'm learning how to speak right now.
Swahili.
So you take that with.
Yeah.
How you doing that?
Huh?
How you doing that?
Duolingo.
Okay, word.
I wrote a book. It's similar to Arabic, I know. It's a lot similar, but, I know Phil Valentine said, like, when you travel, that's what most of our people speak. Just in general around the world, it's Swahili.
So do they got a class? Do they have a class for that?
Duolingo.
Okay, okay. Okay, okay.
It's tedious, huh?
Yeah, I don't know, for some reason.
I was about to say, because I would say I would love to learn Swahili and Arabic, and that's I know I go to those countries a lot, so that would be something that I would be interested if you know somebody was willing to teach.
Arminus. Yeah.
I can tell. I think that's like Brother Salim, what's going on, man? Probably moving around.
Nice. You were about to snack bag.
Yeah. They don't say what specific name, they just say, oh, it's Hannah Harry. No, not Aramaic, Hannah Harry. Yeah, that's what the Ethiopian, so far Ethiopian speak. He coming right now.
Hear what you want to hear. Hear something else.
Look at the door, man. I don't know if I would make it.
Huh?
What you call it? Oh.
The door.
No jacket?
Last week it was work.
Oh, you did. Yeah, I was in San Francisco the last one. It's raining, it's so cold up there.
Wait.
Yeah, I played with both the water, so I stick my hand in the water. It was expensive.
Oh, and that's the same thing.
Lime water.
Oh,
Our Kool-Aid in the water. Like, it's got a pickle in the Kool-Aid.
I'm getting blamed.
Allah.
Allah.
The Father of the universe.
The Father of the universe. The Father of love,
Truth, peace, freedom and justice.
Freedom and justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector. My God.
my salvation, but not in my name. No, you are here. Amen. Islam.
Yes.
Islamism.
Before we go.
Yes.
All right, Islam, everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off.
It's in the background. Put it back on.
Islam.
Islam, have a good one. I'll see y'all,
Islamism.
Islam, see y'all, Wednesday.
Wednesday.